Welcome to The Explainer. We're all about breaking down big ideas into simple, powerful frameworks you can actually use. And today, we are diving headfirst into Brian Tracy's legendary productivity method, Eat That Frog. It's all about tackling that one huge challenge we all struggle with, procrastination. So let's just start with a feeling I'm pretty sure we all know. That feeling of just being completely buried under a mountain of work, errands, emails, you name it. You feel like you're just paddling as fast as you can, trying to get your head above water, but the waves of new stuff just keep coming. And here's the tough love that, honestly, is kind of freeing once you accept it. You will never, ever be on top of everything. It's just not possible. New tasks are always going to show up. So if we can't do it all, the game has to change, right? It's not about getting everything done anymore. It's about getting the right things done. We have to get really, really selective. And that brings us right to the heart of the problem. You see, the real enemy isn't usually the amount of work we have. Nope. It's the sneaky little trap we fall into every single day, this illusion that we're making progress. Think about it. We stay busy all day, don't we? Answering a few emails here, making a quick phone call there, organizing our desktop. We feel productive because we're doing things. We're active. But are we actually accomplishing anything important? So often, we're just dancing around the one or two big projects that could actually move the needle for us. So it all comes down to focus. Brian Tracy puts it perfectly. The ability to concentrate single-mindedly on your most important task is the key to great success. Simple, right? But how do you find that focus when 100 different things are screaming for your attention? Well, that's where this whole thing gets a little weird and honestly pretty brilliant. And here it is, the core idea of this whole method. It's super memorable, if maybe a little gross, and it's called Eat That Frog. This is the key to unlocking some serious high performance, just by tackling the right things first. Okay, so what in the world is a frog? Well, your frog isn't just any old task. It is your biggest, most important, most impactful task of the day. It's that one thing that if you got it done would have the biggest positive effect on your life and your work, and almost without fail, it's also the one thing you are dreading the most. Now, the whole philosophy is governed by two really simple rules. Think of it as the code of the frog eater. Rule number one, if you've got a couple of big, important tasks, you've got to eat the ugliest one first. That means you start with the biggest, the hardest, the most critical job on your plate. And rule number two, once you know which frog you have to eat, just do it. Don't stare at it, don't circle it, don't think about how gross it is, just take action, right away. So we get the principle, right? We gotta eat the frog. But how do you actually do that? When you're looking at a giant to-do list that's just swarming with tasks, how do you pick out the one right frog? Well, that's our first step. We have to identify it. And we start with a classic concept you've probably heard of, the 80-20 rule, or the Pareto principle. It's this idea that in almost anything, 20% of your efforts will produce 80% of your results. This chart shows it perfectly. You have a handful of really important tasks, the vital few, that deliver almost all the value. And guess what lives in that critical 20%? Yep, that's where you'll find your frogs. And here's the secret, and it's where most of us go wrong. You have to fight that powerful, nagging temptation to clear out the easy 80% first. The little tasks that make you feel good. You have to force yourself to focus where it really counts. But we can actually take this a step further. We can narrow down that vital 20% to an even smaller number. We can get it down to just 3. This is something called the law of 3. Here's how it works. If you were to list out every single thing you do for your job, and then you ask yourself this one simple question. If I could only do one of these things all day long, which one would add the most value? And then you ask it again for the second and a third. You'll find something pretty incredible. Just those top 3 tasks probably account for 90% of the value you bring to your work. 90%. Everything else is really just supporting those 3 big things. All right, you've done it. You used the 80-20 rule and the law of 3, and you spotted your most important frogs. Now what? Well, you don't just dive in head first. The next step is absolutely crucial. You gotta create a clear plan of attack before you even think about taking that first bite. The writer Alec Mackenzie had this great line. Taking action without thinking things through is a prime source of problems. And it's so true. Planning is what turns chaotic, busy work into focused, effective action. It actually unlocks your creativity and gives you a jolt of energy to get going. And the payoff for planning is, well, it's huge. There's this thing called the 10-90 rule. It says that the first 10% of time you spend planning your work before you start will save you up to 90% of the time in getting it done. I mean, that's just a crazy return on your investment. So how do you do it? It's actually super simple. Think on paper. Just make a list of everything you need to do tomorrow, but do it the night before. This little trick is so powerful because it lets your subconscious mind chew on that plan while you're sleeping. You'll literally wake up with new ideas on how to get it all done faster and better. Okay, so you found your frog, you have a solid plan. Now it's time for the final and, let's be honest, the most important step of all. You have to execute with complete laser-like focus. This is where it all comes together. And we've got one last great tool to help you do just that. It's called the ABCDE method, and it's a super simple way to prioritize your daily list. Here's how it works. A tasks are your absolute must-dos. They have serious consequences if you don't do them. These are your frogs. B tasks are your should-dos. We can call them tadpoles. But here's the golden rule. You never do a B task if you still have an A task left. C tasks are nice to do, like grabbing a coffee with a coworker. No real consequences. D is for delegate and E is for eliminate. Your job is to look at your list, find your A1 task, your biggest, ugliest frog, and start on it first thing. Don't do anything else until it is 100% finished. So, you do all this. You build this tough habit of tackling your biggest, ugliest task first thing every single day. What's the big reward? Well, it's not just about getting more stuff done. It's about how it literally changes how you feel. And this is where the science gets really cool. Every time you finish a big, important task, your brain gives you a little prize. It releases a rush of endorphins. It's this natural high that makes you feel happier, more powerful, and even more creative. And this feeling, it's addictive. In a good way. Your brain starts to crave that little hit of success. It creates this amazing feedback loop where finishing something important motivates you to start and finish more important things. Success actually starts fueling more success. You create this incredible upward spiral of confidence and productivity. So here's the bottom line. When you consistently identify your most important task and you act on it first, you're not just organizing your day. You are literally rewiring your brain for success. You build this unstoppable momentum that can totally transform your career. So the only real question left is, what's your frog? And what's stopping you from eating it?